The God of War video game series has seen tremendous success. Since its debut 18 years ago, it has been a fan favorite, and with the news of the upcoming sequel, the gaming community can't wait to see what's in store. A new comic trailer named All Parents Can Relate was recently released by the studio as a promotional video for the game. Stay tuned as we talk all about it and more. Starting off with the trailer reveal. The studio Santa Monica surely knows how to really advertise their new game. They have been releasing small glimpses and teaser trailers of the game from time to time, knowing just how excited the fans really are. Sometimes the trailer shows some new enemies, while others contain glimpses of how the new storyline is going to progress. Recently, the studio released yet another trailer, but this time it was unlike the other one. But why do we say that? This trailer didn't feature any content of God of War and instead showed 3 big celebrities sitting in a room with their teenage kids. The celebrities include Ben Stiller, John Travolta, and LeBron James. Ben goes on to how he really relates to Kratos, the protagonist of God of War, and how picking up the Leviathan axe really helped him bond with his son. While on the other hand, his son looks annoyed. Ben asks the group if they know what he thinks about at 3 a.m., saying that the answer to his question is Kratos. To add on to Ben's thoughts, Travolta says that he does the same, and that's when his daughter asks him to stop acting all thirsty. The trailer is 2 minutes of pure comedy, and the serious dialogue delivery truly sends us over the edge with laughter. The jokes add a fun element to the God of War promotions, and the fans are here for it. The trailer ends with a reveal of the release date, giving the fans something to look forward to. Up next, how did fans and YouTubers react to the trailer? It's not very normal for a comic trailer to be released for a serious game such as God of War. Most YouTube gamers were kind of shocked and honestly weirded out by the trailer. According to the fans, the entire thing was pretty random and unexpected, with Stiller throwing in random lines that don't have any correlation to the game, but as chaotic as it was, that's what made the trailer stand out. The audience was confused about whether to be serious or to laugh because the entire trailer is just one dad joke after the other. Overall, the fans said it was quite a weird experience, but fun in its own way. The fans are quite excited about the game already, and with this trailer becoming the talk of the gaming town, the hype is just growing stronger. But will the game really live up to it? Well, we will have to find out on the 9th of November, so mark your calendars. Moving on to highlights of improvements in the gameplay of God of War Ragnarok. Starting off, the sequel of God of War will give players more options. Kratos gets both his Leviathan axe and Blades of Chaos at the beginning of Ragnarok, providing players with far more combat choices than at the beginning of the previous game. Sony Santa Monica focused on offering more diversity and smaller bosses for you to face, which has allowed the enemy design to be more complicated from the start. It all comes down to striking a balance between frustration and engagement, as one combat designer explains in an interview. Up next, Santa Monica upgrades the triangle button. The studio's top priority is always to have God of War play smoothly on PlayStation controllers because it is a PlayStation exclusive. The triangle button is one that doesn't actually achieve much of anything, as players who have played God of War on the PS4 in 2018 know, especially if the player is already holding a weapon. Since the button's sole purpose is to recall back the Leviathan axe, gamers frequently overlook its functionality. You'll be happy to know that the sequel's creators are introducing some fresh upgrades. The developer has made the decision to add signature abilities to the triangle button in order to make the game's combat even more engaging and enjoyable. When you have your weapons in your hand, you now can perform what is known as weapon signature moves, which are essentially movements that have ice or fire incorporated into them. And how will you do it? The triangle button. Moving on to include new, different shields. The triangle button isn't the only aspect of the gameplay that has changed. Lead combat designer for the game, Mihir Sheth, has said that new shields are also a highlight of the upcoming sequel. In contrast to other games where similar items just act as skins, these shields are useful, and wearing them provides the player with all kinds of advantages. God of War Ragnarok has a variety of shields that are essential for combat. These are very different from one another, and besides their appearance, they will completely change how you approach combat. Game Informer had first access to the brand new Dauntless and Stonewall shields. The Dauntless shield, which relies on quick reflexes, allows you to parry your opponent and stun adversaries at the last second. The Stonewall shield is more appropriate for those who like to fight than parry attacks though. This barrier also absorbs all kind of attacks, converting them into kinetic energy. Once it's fully charged, you can stomp on the ground to knock foes off their feet, but keep in mind that the shield seems to become fragile as damage is taken to it, exposing Kratos. Senior combat designer Danny Ye said that Kratos will also have access to more potent shields, but advised gamers against taking on too much. Maybe don't play with everything you eat because there will be stuff that may easily devour you too. Following up, developers talk changing the combat. Mihir Sheth, during an interview with Game Informer, talked about how the programming team had a core value when they started off with God of War, an old studio motto that said, "playing with your food," and that's what Kratos also did. The developers made him play with his food by introducing new weapons and strategies to tackle the enemy, resulting in the invention of two new signature techniques, Frost Awaken and Whiplash. He also stated that their team has been putting a lot of effort into creating systems that gamers find entertaining and engaging. They wanted to give gamers a ton of options, placing a large emphasis on diversity and customization. Even if the fighting in the God of War game from 2018 was amazing, the team just felt they could push its boundaries even further, and for that reason, the sequel contains even more content. To keep the gameplay fresh and entertaining, players will discover a wide variety of new weapons and unique moves. Next up, there is a lot more focus on verticality and even more enemies. The teaser also briefly outlines the several enemies you'll run against in the game along with these things. It also talks about how Atreus plays a bigger combat role and how the action is spread out over numerous planes, giving the game a sense of verticality. Despite the fact that both creators believe that opponent aggressiveness and lethality will rise as levels get more difficult, players must remain calm at all times. Older locations occasionally become home to larger wildlife, and optional regions could be difficult to navigate without a more experienced crew. There is no indication on whether Kratos will own more main weapons, but a previous teaser showed Atreus riding an elk that had been called by a runic spell, suggesting that perhaps more new abilities would soon be revealed. Lastly, how is the new gameplay going to differ from the previous one? Similar to 2018's God of War, Ragnarok will alternate between huge showstopper bosses, modest brawls, and calmer moments with Kratos and Atreus. Even while the options for combat in certain situations may be well known, they have been improved, as seen in the Ragnarok gameplay video, which also included new attack skills for Kratos and a new runic summon for Atreus. According to the Ragnarok PS Store website, Kratos will be able to use his Leviathan Axe, Blades of Chaos, and Guardian Shield with a range of additional powers. One of these new abilities is Kratos' use of the Blades of Chaos as a grappling hook to scale walls and close the gap between enemies, which is comparable to Halo Infinite. The brand new teaser video features them. Kratos will also have access to several new Norse monsters to use those abilities on. One fresh foe we noticed in the gameplay footage was the Stalker, who looked like a centaur. In the most recent CG video, we saw a sneak peek at the wolf giant Fenrir, but it remains to be seen whether he'll be an ally or an enemy. The game will feature two other notable fresh additions, Speke and Savannah, the wolves seen dragging Kratos and Atreus over the frozen Lake of Nine in the gameplay. All things considered, we can't wait to get our hands on God of War Ragnarok as soon as it becomes available, but that's going to be a wrap for this video, my friends. What do you think about the comic trailer? Comment below, give this video a thumbs up, and please subscribe to our channel for more videos just like this. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.